all of you, and I think all the students are in. So this is a practical class. We have been dealing with our theory subjects and theory classes since past 10 to 11 months, and our journey with you was extremely good because we have got a very good result in pulmonary medicine. Almost all the students have cleared the exams, who all have talked us, and some institutes like GMC Pali have got 100% results for their first time. So thank you for trusting us and keeping the journey ahead. We will begin with the practical journey, and this is the first class in which we'll be taking history taking and all the common questions related to history taking. So I want all of you to actively participate, and if you want to answer, you can put on your mic and answer, and if you want to write your answers on the chat box, that also is available here. So I am having two devices. So in one of my device I'll be looking at the chat box also, but if you want to speak, if you want to open your mic and speak the answers, you can speak that also. And I want you to write each and everything. The class will be a bit lengthy because we are going to cover a lot of questions in history taking. So keep on writing with me, keep a flow with me. I'll be going a little bit fast because we have to take a lot of classes and this will be lengthier classes. So just keep on writing with me so that you have a collection of all your questions at one place. So I'll share my screen, and I think many medicine students are also here. They wanted to study about respiratory point. So all of you are welcome. All right. So just take a screenshot or you write it down. It will be better if you write it down, but if you don't have time to write, just take a photo. Not a screenshot, just photo. And after this class, you write this whole history in your own handwriting, because this is the only way you have to write the history in your practical exams. Okay. So I'll read the history part. A 54-year-old male patient. Okay. A 54-year-old male tailor by occupation was admitted with chief complaint of breathlessness since 1 year, which was exacerbated 3 days back, cough since 3 months, and fever since 3 days. Okay. So this was the presentation of the patient. Okay. So what are the DDs when you look at these 3 points? Breathlessness, cough and fever. Anyone would like to say what will be the DDs? Just looking at these 3 points. If you want to type, you can type. If you want to answer in the mic, you can answer. And please participate actively. Then only the session will become interesting. Your examiner will stop you here only. You have told breathlessness since 1 year, cough since 3 months, and fever since 3 days. So what will be your DDs? Pneumonia, okay? And you can speak up. Open your mics and speak up. Okay, pneumonia you have told, and so looking at the 3 points, you can very well clear, yes, infective exacerbation of COPD, okay. So you can see that this is a respiratory case because all the symptoms are related to respiratory system. So this is a case of respiratory disease. Okay. Now, history of presenting acute exacerbation of COPD. Okay, very good. History of presenting illness. Now, what will you write? Patient was well apparent 1 year back when he noticed breathlessness on climbing one floor and stairs and on walking uphill. So what is the MMRC at this point? Fast, all of you. Keep on typing. If you don't want to answer, keep on typing. What is the MMRC? He is having breathlessness on climbing one floor and stairs and on walking uphill. MMRC grade 1. Very good. Now, it was insidious in onset and relieved with rest. Means the patient was not having any SOB. Very good. MMRC grade 1. So, it was insidious in onset and relieved with rest. it progressed 3 months back to cause SOB while lowering on level ground and impaired his daily activity. Now, what is the MMRC? MMRC grade 4. Very good. So 1 year back, the patient was having MMRC grade 1. Within 3 months, it progressed, and now he is having impaired daily activity, which is MMRC grade 4. Impairment of daily activity is grade 4. Okay. There was further worsening 3 days back to cause SOB on walking for about. This is not grade 4. Lowering on level ground and impairment of his daily activity. This is still grade 3. Grade 4 is while dressing, undressing, and in resting position. That is grade 4. When we label it as grade 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now further worsening 3 days back to cause SOB on walking for about 100 meters. The 100 meters again grade 3. This is associated with wheezing, no history of awakening in the night or breathlessness on lying down, and no diurnal variations. Patients complain of cough from 3 months, which was insidious in onset, associated with sputum, which was scanty, white in color, mucoid in consistency, non-foul smelling, and non-blood tinged. Okay, so first you have to describe everything about shortness of breath and just see the history. So beautifully it is written. I have not mentioned MMRC grade 1 or MMRC grade 2. You have to explain the symptoms. You don't have to write the technical terms. You don't have to mention MMRC in the history. You just have to explain the symptoms. Okay, so after complete history of shortness of breath, then we came for cough. Okay, and we have explained everything about cough. The duration of cough is 3 months. It was insidious in onset. It was associated with scanty sputum. It was white in color. So color of the cough is mentioned. The amount of the cough is mentioned. The onset of the cough is mentioned. Consistency of the cough is mentioned. It is mucoid in consistency. Smell of the cough is mentioned. It is non-foul smelling. It is not blood tinged. So everything has been mentioned for the cough. So if you're writing, write it down. I'm giving you 1 minute time. And write in points only so that you don't forget anything. Write in a point-wise manner only. Okay. After cough, we'll come for fever. So there is fever since 3 days, on and off fever, not associated with chills and rigor, and it is relieved by medication. So fever ka duration is mentioned. The category of fever, whether it is continuant or intermittent fever, that is mentioned. Whether it is associated with chills and rigor is mentioned, and it is relieving and aggravating factors have been mentioned. Okay. So once again, I'll start with the history of shortness of breath. Okay. So the patient was having breathlessness on climbing 1 floor and stairs and on walking uphill. This is grade 2. Now there are two classification of MMRC, whether you can label it as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 or 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Like this also you can mention. Okay. So 1 means there is shortness of breath only with strenuous exercise. 2 means there is shortness of breath by walking up a hill or down and hurrying on level. Okay. Then 3 means he has to stop for breath and he will walk slower than people of the same age. So lowering on level ground means he is stopping for people at his own age. This is grade 3. Then he is only walking 100 meters, this is grade 4. And grade 5 comes when there is SOB in resting position. Okay. So after this history of presenting illness, you have to give a list of negative history. Okay. So no history of chest pain, palpitations, syncope, no history of upper respiratory tract infections, no history of night sweats, weight loss and loss of appetite, no history of early fatigability, no history of bilateral lower limb swelling, no history of epigastric pain, no known allergies, no history of morning headache. Okay. So now I stop my history here only. Till here you have spoken to your examiner, and now your examiner will ask what is your probable diagnosis. Now everybody please type in the chat box what is your probable diagnosis at this point. Okay, all of you please, either you speak or you write what is the probable diagnosis looking at the history. Acute exacerbation of COPD, okay. Infective exacerbation of obstructive airway disease, okay. And everybody is saying acute exacerbation. Okay, one probable diagnosis we have got, acute exacerbation of COPD, okay. और बोलो आगे. After this you have to give at least 5 to 6 DDs. You cannot give only one diagnosis. अगर आप एक ही diagnosis बोलोगे यहाँ पे तो आप फंस जाओगे, आपके एग्जामिनर वहीं पे. ILD, acute exacerbation of ILD, very good. और बोलो. Pneumonia, okay, this can be bacterial pneumonia, okay. And और बोलो. There is fever, there is SOP, there is cough. What else it can be? You have to give 5 to 7 DDs at this point. Who is there? Please mute yourself. Okay, anything else? Bronchiectasis, very good. Very good. And I'll go back to the history part. See the occupation of the patient. He is tailor by occupation. Can anything be related to occupation? Everybody? What can be related to occupation? HSP, very good. This can be HSP, okay. HP, very good. और बोलो. It can be asthma COPD overlap, or it can be occupational asthma also. Okay, it can be plain simple bronchial asthma also. Okay, so like this you have to give multiple DDs. So never give a single diagnosis. The biggest mistake the students do after HOPI and after your negative history, the examiner will stop you and will ask you why, what are your differentials. So you will say acute exacerbation of COPD and you will stop there. Why? How can you say that it is only an airway disease? Why can't it be a parenchymal disease? Why can't it be a pneumonia? Why can't it be a bronchiectasis? Why can't it be an ILD? Why can't it be HP? Okay, why can't it be occupational asthma? Why can't it be this thing? It can be pharyngitis. You have to mention upper airway also. So it can be laryngitis, it can be pharyngitis. So keep multiple DDs in your mind. Okay. Then past history, he is not a known case of hypertension, diabetes, TB, asthma, and there is no previous history of hospitalization. Personal history, he is chronic smoker, he is having cigarette one bundle per day, and I can also add he's alcoholic also. Okay, there is no any family history of similar illness. Okay, so now the examiner will tell you, summarize your history at this point. So patient is a middle-aged man who is a chronic smoker with no known comorbidities, presented with worsening shortness of breath from grade 1 to grade, it is going till grade 4 actually, and he is having fever for 3 days, cough with expectoration since 3 months, and from history this seems to be a respiratory pathology, probable acute exacerbation of COPD. Like this you have to give a summary. But what is the issue in this summary? Everything is written beautifully. Okay, but one mistake I have done in this summary, I have given just a single diagnosis that this is acute exacerbation of COPD. Your examiner will stop you there only. Why this is only COPD? So you have to mention all these DDs. Never give a single answer at that point. Okay, always present the differentials. So what all differentials you will present at this point? Just write it down very fast. Looking at this history, what all differentials can be there? One, this is acute exacerbation of COPD, as everybody is saying. Second, this can be bronchial asthma, or this can be asthma COPD overlap. Third, this can be occupational asthma. He is tailor by occupation. Fourth, this can be pneumonia. This patient is having fever. Then this can be HP. Again, he is having an occupational exposure. This can be an upper airway involvement. So this can be pharyngitis, laryngitis. Okay, so write down all these points. Okay. So I think all of you have written till now this much. Okay. So these many DDs we have made. Now how will you rule out these DDs? Okay, one more thing. This can be a heart disease also. This can be congestive heart failure because there will be SUB, there will be cough with expectoration, and there will be fever if there is acute exacerbation of heart failure. So you have to in all these DDs. Now how will you rule out these DDs one by one? So that is why we have to give negative history. Okay. So why this negative history? When you will see these 7 to 8 points in negative history, your examiner will ask you why you have said these many negative histories. What is the importance of negative history? So I'll also add few more points in negative history. So there is no history of chest pain, palpitation, syncope. That means you have ruled out CVS. Somebody please mute yourself. Your disturbance is coming. All of you please mute yourself. Okay. So chest pain, palpitation, syncope, you have ruled out CVS cause. No history of upper respiratory tract infections. Okay. And there is no history of pharyngitis. You can add in this. Okay. So you have straight away said in the history that URTI is not there. So laryngitis is ruled out, pharyngitis is ruled out. Okay. Now no history of night sweats, weight loss, and loss of appetite. That means your history of tuberculosis is ruled out. Okay. All these symptoms can also be seen in malignancy. This is ruled out. Okay. Then no history of early fatigability. Again, this is in favor of tuberculosis. So there is no such tuberculosis or malignancy. No history of bilateral limb swelling. Again, this rules out cardiovascular cause. No history of epigastric pain. This rules out GI cause. So any GI like chronic GERD can also be presented with a chronic cough, and this can also cause shortness of breath. Okay? So this rules out GI cause. No known allergies. This will rule out your bronchial asthma. This will rule out occupational asthma. Okay? This will also somehow rule out your hypersensitivity pneumonitis. The patient is not allergic to any exposure. Okay? Now, along with this, you can also add few more points in the negative history. You can add there is no history of hemopsis. There is no history of cough with excessive purulent sputum. There is no history of chills and rigor. You have already said this in HOP also. There is no history of bluish discoloration of skin. No history of altered sensorium. So these are all your negative histories. Okay? So no history of chills and rigors. This will rule out pneumonia. So you have told in DD that this can be bacterial pneumonia. So this will rule out bacterial pneumonia because there will be a high grade fever in pneumonia. Okay? No history of cough with excessive sputum. This will rule out. Or you can also say no history of cough with no history of diurnal variation of the cough. No history of diurnal variation, or you can say postural variation. So when you give this negative history that there is no history of diurnal variation or postural variation, this will rule out bronchiectasis. This will rule out lung abscess. Okay, and no history of fluid discoloration, no altered sensorium means patient is not in type 2 respiratory failure. Okay. Then one more thing, you can rule out from history the age of the patient. So patient is 54-year-old age. The age is 54 years. Okay, so this is more towards COPD rather than bronchial asthma. Plus he is a smoker, plus he is not having any history of allergy. So bronchial asthma is again ruled out. Okay, so his age is elderly. Okay, he is a smoker and he is not having any atopic history. So here you will rule out occupational asthma and you have also ruled out bronchial asthma. So now your diagnosis is pointing towards acute exacerbation of COPD. So this is how you have to tell the examiner that immediately when you complete your HOPI, you cannot say that this is acute exacerbation of asthma. You have to give first 7 to 8 DDs for that particular case, and after you after giving those DDs, you have to where is that page?
मैम एक डाउट है.
हाँ बोलो.
मैम अर्ली फैटिगेबिलिटी क्या होता है?
अर्ली फैटिगेबिलिटी में जल्दी थकान हो जाती है पेशेंट को, थोड़ा सा काम करता है और थक जाता है.
ओके.
है ना? That means usually he will be a case of tuberculosis or malignancy that he will be early fatigability.
Ma'am, early fatigability and easily fatigability is same, ma'am?
Yeah, it is almost same. There is no difference in that.
Okay.
Okay. So I think this much is clear. So all these things. So after giving 7 to 8 DDs, you have to point all the negative history one by one, so that you can rule out each cause. You rule out CVS. Okay, there is no history of hemopsis, we told. So again, you have ruled out what are the causes of hemopsis. All the causes of hemopsis. There can be cardiac cause of hemopsis, there can be respiratory cause of hemopsis, there can be tuberculosis, pulmonary embolism, malignancy. We'll see again later on about causes of hemopsis, not right now. But all those causes, bronchiectasis is also present with hemopsis, and cough with excessive purulence, sputum with postural and diurnal variation. This is classically seen in bronchiectasis and lung abscess. So these 2 DDs are also ruled out. There is no Chilson-Reiger. Pneumonia is ruled out because usually the bacterial infection will present with high-grade fever with Chilson-Reiger. So this is just simply an exacerbation of COPD. Now you can, still you are not sure. You can say that we have ruled out other causes. So probably this can be acute exacerbation of COPD. We have to further evaluate the patient and further investigate the patient. Okay. So till this point, we will complete the history today. And now what all questions are being asked related to here, write it down one by one. So first and foremost important question, what is the importance of age? Question 1, the examiner will ask, what is the importance of age? So what are the diseases that present in young age and what are the diseases that present in elderly people? Okay, so you will say that certain diseases are present at younger age, certain diseases will be present at the elderly age. So you can say bronchial asthma, usually it presents in early age because patient has a history of associated childhood asthma. Okay, the patient will have atopic history. Okay, so this will not present after 50-60 years of age. This will present in a younger age. Then alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency, this is presenting in younger age. Certain genetic causes to be ruled out, which are present at a younger age. What are those? These are alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiencies. These are Swyer-James-McLeod syndrome. Okay, there is unilateral hyperlucent lung in this Swyer-James-McLeod syndrome. Okay, now be fast in writing. We have to cover a lot of questions. Okay, what are the diseases that present in elderly patients? So COPD, particularly your emphysema and chronic bronchitis associated with smoking. Okay, smoking related ILDs present in elderly age. Lung cancer, malignancy will present in elderly age. Asthma, COPD overlap. Patient initial presentation is bronchial asthma, but with years his asthma will not improve on inhalers because he will develop some genotypes and phenotypes related to COPD also, and he will be requiring a triple combination therapy, that is asthma COPD overlap. So chronic severe asthma can in elderly age turn up into asthma COPD overlap. Question number 2, the examiner will ask, what is the importance of sex? So certain diseases are predominant in male, certain diseases are predominant in female. So what are those diseases? You can type also and you can write out. So male predominant diseases, the most important is COPD. It will be presenting in older age. Male who are usually smokers or associated with outdoor air pollution. Okay, then tuberculosis. Why tuberculosis is more common in males? Because males are usually smokers, males are alcoholic. So these smokers and alcoholic, they have a disturbed immunity. Okay, sometimes they have occupational exposure. They work in so crowded places, they do not have a ventilated areas, and they have a lot of occupational exposure that they are catching the disease. So tuberculosis is more common in males. Then lung cancer, obviously, because they are smokers. Because occupation is male predominant, so occupational asthma is also more prominent in males. He will have symptoms while working, and when he come back to home, he'll be symptom released. And IPF present in smokers. So the examiner will ask you, what are the diseases which are prominent in males? Write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But you have to give the answers. You can give the reasons also why it is more common in males. Okay, there will be a why after. जितना आप बोलोगे उतना questions चलते जाएंगे, है ना? And the examiner will always start with a basic question. They will never ask you hi-fi questions. So forget this tendency of studying hi-fi things. First, your basics should be very clear, because basics में अटक जाओगे, the examiner will get depressed. Okay, and you keep on answering very simple. They will ask you simple questions, you have to give simple answers. That's it. You have to give common causes. Don't give unnecessary, irrelevant causes. You first start with common causes in respiratory and then go for hi-fi causes. Okay. So importance of sex. Females, what are the disease? Bronchial asthma. Females are more atopic. Bronchiectasis. Okay. Pulmonary embolism and pulmonary hypertension. Not in all females, but who are in reproductive age group. So most commonly in reproductive age group. And why? Because of the hormones and all that. Estrogen predominant disease. So reproductive age group, or the patient is on hormonal treatment. If the female is on OCPs for a longer time or hormonal treatment, they are more prone to develop pulmonary embolism and pulmonary hypertension, because estrogen will cause inflammatory response to irritants. Then LAM, almost exclusively present in females. Very good. CTD-ILD was my next point. CTD-ILD is SLE, RA, ILD, Sjogren's. All these are predominantly seen in 40 to 50 years of females. Sarcoidosis, more common in young female. Okay. So very simple questions and very simple answer. You just need to use your brains to give simple answers. Okay. कहीं नहीं अटकोगे आप. Write down this much. चलो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. आर हिस्ट्री में एक एक सिम्टम्स उठाते हैं. सबसे पहले कफ को उठाते हैं. ठीक है. सो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन विल बी, व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन एक्यूट, सब एक्यूट and chronic cough. ठीक है. So acute means less than 3 weeks. Subacute is 3 to 8 weeks. And chronic is more than 8 weeks. ठीक है. The next question will be, what are the causes of these acute, subacute and chronic cough? ठीक है. So what are the causes of acute cough? This can be acute upper respiratory tract infection or lower respiratory tract infection. That means common cold हो गया, ठीक है, acute bronchitis हो गया, ठीक है, or there can be acute exacerbation of any pre-existing disease. So acute exacerbation of your bronchial asthma or acute exacerbation of COPD or bronchiectasis or heart failure. किसी का भी exacerbation that can present in acute cough. Your subacute cough is of 3 to 8 weeks and this is usually पोस्ट वायरल कफ, पोस्ट इन्फेक्शियस कफ होता है ना, कई बार वायरल डिजीज हो जाती है और कुछ 1-2 महीने तक खांसी जाती नहीं है, पेशेंट्स कंप्लेन करते हैं कि कफ आ रहा है, खांसी नहीं जा रही है, तो दैट इज पोस्ट वायरल कफ, इट गोज विद टाइम. So usually this is post viral cough. Okay, and rest everything will come in chronic cough. So what are the cause of chronic cough? So bronchial asthma, chronic condition, COPD, chronic condition, GERD can cause chronic cough, post nasal drip can cause chronic cough, bronchiectasis, malignancy. Okay, then foreign body, लंबे टाइम तक पड़ी है तो अदरवाइज फॉरेन बॉडी विल प्रेजेंट इन एक्यूट कफ. इसको हटा दो यहाँ से, दिस विल प्रेजेंट इन एक्यूट कफ, क्योंकि फॉरेन बॉडी लंबे टाइम तक यूजुअली रहेगी नहीं, है ना. दिस विल कम इन एक्यूट कफ. देन इंटरस्टिशियल लंग डिजीजेस, देन लंग एब्सेस, ठीक है, देन ड्रग इंड्यूस्ड कफ. So what are the drugs which cause cough? The most common drug is your ACE inhibitors, calcium channel blockers. They increase your gastroesophageal reflux. ठीक है. Glaucoma drugs. There are certain glaucoma drugs, that is your prostaglandin analog. Okay, this timolol. Okay, all these will cause cough. Then aspiration pneumonia, then necrotizing pneumonias, then chronic heart failure, okay, then inflammatory bowel disease, psychogenic cough, and last is chronic refractory cough. Okay, so all these are the causes of chronic cough. Okay, I am sharing the screen, please write all of you. ठीक है, चलें आगे. Now next question will be, what else they can ask you? What are the cause of chronic cough with a normal X-ray? Means the patient is having complaint of chronic cough but his X-ray is normal. So whatever 16 points you have written, you have to pick the answer from that only. That means that this is not a respiratory cause of cough. This is something else. So GERD, post nasal drip, there is cough variant asthma, okay, or it can be a habitual or a psychogenic cough. Okay, so the non-respiratory causes of chronic cough, indirectly the examiner is asking what are the non-respiratory causes of chronic cough. ठीक है. Then, what are the exacerbation factors for cough? The next question can be asked, what are the exacerbation factors? What all things can exacerbate your cough? So, cold air, winter season can exacerbate. Rainy season can exacerbate. Okay? Exercise can exacerbate. Okay? Smoking will exacerbate. Okay? So, certain exacerbation factors. Okay? Then next question, important cough. He will ask you, what is cough variant asthma? So there are 7 diagnostic criteria for cough variant asthma, and all 1 to 7 criteria should be present. All should be present. Okay? So there is cough for at least 1 week. Means that this is also coming under the category of chronic cough. So at least 8 weeks of cough should be there, but there should not be associated wheeze. Wheezing should be absent. Okay? Patient should not have past history of asthma. So there is no past history of asthma. Then no history of URTI in these previous 8 weeks. तो जिस previous 8 weeks में उसको chronic cough हो रहा है, उसमें URTI की history नहीं होनी चाहिए. There should be increased airway responsiveness. Okay? This should be effective response to bronchodilator therapy. It should be an effective response to bronchodilator therapy. The cough should be of same in sensitivity. So there should not be any increase in cough sensitivity. Means this will not vary with season or atmosphere or that. The intensity will remain the same. And there should not be any abnormal findings on chest X-ray. So these 7 things, they point towards cough variant asthma. Means you have ruled out all the diseases of respiratory pathology, and then you can label it as that this is cough variant asthma. Means the patient is not having past history of asthma, no past history of URTI, cough is for at least 8 weeks, there is response to bronchodilators because of increased airway responsiveness, no increase in cough sensitivity, means there will no be any variation with atmosphere or climate or environment, anything, and X-ray should be normal. So these are the diagnostic criteria for cough variant asthma.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yeah.
Ma'am, spring season there is lot of pollen, and that season is known to exacerbate respiratory symptoms.
See, there are 2 seasons in which respiratory symptoms exacerbate. One is your spring season, that is from July to August.
Okay.
Because of these pollens and all that, because there is a lot of pollens in the atmosphere, the environment changes. And the second exacerbation comes in the winter season, November-December season, because of the cold climatic conditions. So usually bronchial asthma will have that is why we use the term diurnal variation. 2 different seasons, there will be 2 different variations. Okay, so they will remain better in rest of the months, but during this pollen variation and during this beginning of the winter season, they will have exacerbations.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Now, the next question they will ask, what is the causes of dry cough and what are the causes of productive cough? Okay. तो ड्राई कफ के कॉजेस क्या होंगे और प्रोडक्टिव कफ के कॉजेस क्या होंगे? सो अभी जो अपन ने पढ़ा कफ वेरिएंट अस्थमा, दैट विल बी ड्राई कफ. And you can type also in the chat box what are the other causes of dry cough. Usually bronchial asthma will have a dry cough. ILD, very good. ILDs will have dry cough. And और बताओ. Cough due to drugs like AC inhibitors, these will be dry cough. Then GERD will be dry cough. Psychogenic cough will be very good. Dr. Preetham has written psychogenic cough. This is a dry cough. Okay. Pulmonary embolism, the cough is dry. Your tubercular pleural effusion, this also presents with usually dry cough. Okay. What are the causes of productive cough? Start with simple. Yes, viral cause can also cause dry cough. That comes in allergic, viral, everything will come in dry cough. Bronchiectasis will not have dry cough. Bronchiectasis is productive cough. Okay, you are giving answers to productive cough. Okay, yes, bronchiectasis, productive cough. And COPD, very good, will have productive cough. That is chronic bronchitis. This will have productive cough. Pneumonia, very good. This will have productive cough. And lung abscess. Malignancies, chronic malignancies will have productive cough. Heart failure, because there will be pulmonary edema, it will be a productive cough. Heart failure, you can say, or you can say simply pulmonary edema. Can be due to cardiogenic or non-cardiogenic, any cause. Okay? So all these are the causes of dry cough and productive cough. Lung cancer, very good. Lung cancer will cause dry cough, productive. What are the causes of nighttime cough? Necrotizing pneumonia. Okay, very good. What are the cause of nighttime cough? रात में खांसी. The most common cause will be patient will have nighttime cough, nighttime shortness of breath. He will not feel good while in supine position. He'll have to sit because of dyspnea. He will have to sit because of excessive coughing. Yes, bronchial asthma also has nighttime cough. Very good. And cardiac causes, usually congestive heart failure and all. Yes, very good. Heart failure will have nighttime cough. Okay, what are the causes of cough which will aggravate with posture? The cough with bronchiectasis, very good. And one more cause. Pink and frothie sputum is productive only. I said pulmonary edema में productive cough ही आएगा ना. It is not non-productive. Lung abscess, very good. So, two main most common causes that will be cough aggravating with posture is bronchiectasis and lung abscess. Okay? One last question related to cough. Okay, certain question related to color of the cough. They can ask you. Okay? So, what if it is a whitish cough? Cause of whitish cough? This can be simple viral pneumonia. Okay. This can be simple acute exacerbation of your COPD. This can be present in GERD, post-nasal drips. Okay. Yellowish cough or yellowish white cough. Can be simple community acquired pneumonia, streptococcus pneumonia. It can be simple acute exacerbation will present with somewhat mucopurulent sputum. Can be seen in bronchiectasis. Okay. Causes of greenish sputum. Usually, which infection can cause greenish sputum?
Pseudomonas.
Very good. Pseudomonas will cause greenish sputum. Other than this, any chronic inflammatory condition with secondary infection can also cause greenish sputum. And pink frothie sputum?
Pulmonary edema.
Pulmonary edema. Very good. Rusty brown sputum? Again, bacterial infections like streptococcus pneumonia will produce rusty brown sputum. Okay, so certain colors can be asked. Okay, what is the ideal sputum for culture? When you will say that it is an ideal sputum for culture, there should be at least more than 25 WBCs and less than 10 squamous epithelial cells per low power field. This is actually a question for micro people, but we should know the digit. Okay, so more than 25 WBCs and less than 10 squamous epithelial cells per low power field will cause an ideal sputum. Okay, and one last question: what are the complications of cough?
Hemoptysis.
No, never mention like this. Tell it system wise. There will be respiratory complications, there will be CVS complications, there will be neurological complications. Okay, and there will be GI complications. So always first segregate it system wise manner so that you can remember it easily. Okay, so all the respiratory complications of cough. What are the respiratory complications of cough? What will happen when patient will keep on coughing, excessive coughing? The most common thing, what will happen?
Refracture and pneumothorax.
Very good. There will be pneumothorax. So pneumothorax will be there. There can be pneumomediastinum also. There can be subcutaneous emphysema. Okay. There will be exacerbation of the underlying disease, that there will be exacerbation of bronchial asthma or COPD. Okay. There can be herniation, intercostal lung herniation, and there can be hemoptysis. Okay. Serious complications, there can be hypotension, there can be dislodgement of any intravascular catheters which are placed. So dislodgement of your intravascular catheters. Okay, then there can be arrhythmias. Okay, what will be the neurological complications? There can be cough syncope, there can be headache, there can be CSF rhinorrhea, there can be seizures, can be stroke also. Okay, and GI, there can be chronic GERD, or the GERD, if it is already there, it will further aggravate. There can be splenic rupture, and there can be hernia, inguinal hernia, abdominal hernia, like that. Okay, so you have to segregate it system wise and give 3 to 4 important causes in each and every system. Okay. Next, what is the importance of family history? The question, you are dealing with history, you are saying past history, family history, personal history. So what is the importance of family history? So certain diseases are there, respiratory and cardiovascular disease, which are inherited, they run in factory. So if there is a family history of bronchial asthma, allergic rhinitis, family history of cardiovascular disease, okay, there is a family history of lung cancer, cystic fibrosis, alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency, or sometimes tuberculosis also. So certain diseases, they run in family, like bronchial asthma is genetic, allergic rhinitis, then sometimes bronchiectasis also. Some genetic causes are there which runs in family. Okay, so you have to rule out all family histories. Okay. Now in personal history, I use 2 points. The patient is smoker and the patient is alcoholic. Okay. So what all questions will be asked related to smoking and alcohol? We'll take one by one. So the most common question that will be asked for smoking is your back ears, and I think all of you should know this thing. define pack years. The first question with that examiner will ask, what is pack years? Okay, so everybody must be knowing this. So this refers to the number of years the patient has smoked into number of packs smoking each day. Okay. Now one pack will have 20 cigarettes. Okay. So if a patient is smoking one pack each day, means he is smoking 20 cigarettes each day. Means if ulta bolte hain, if a patient is smoking 20 cigarettes per day, that means he is smoking one pack per day. So if suppose the patient is smoking one pack per day and he has smoked for suppose 15 years, so number of years. So what will be the total pack years? There will be 15 pack years. Okay. If suppose the patient is smoking 40 cigarettes per day, that means he is smoking 2 packs per day. So 2 into 15, the pack years will become 30 pack years. So this is very simple, just simple mathematics, no logic in this. So number of packs he is smoking per day into number of years he has smoked, and one pack is having 20 cigarettes. So either you can say he is smoking 20 cigarettes per day, और ही स्मोकिंग 40 cigarettes per day, और ही स्मोकिंग 60 cigarettes per day. उसके हिसाब से आपका पैक बनता है और उस पैक को आपको टोटल ड्यूरेशन ऑफ ईयर्स में कन्वर्ट करना है. दैट इज योर पैक ईयर्स. द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, व्हाट आर द 5 A's टू क्विट स्मोकिंग? टाइप ऑल ऑफ यू. 5 A's to ask. Very good.
Assess.
Before assess, advise.
Advise. Assess.
Assess. Then other students. Assist. Very good. And 5.
Assist.
Last is arrange.
Arrange.
Yes, very good. So these are the 5 A's. So they will ask you what are the 5 A's to quit smoking. Next question they will ask, what are the pharmacotherapies that can use for tobacco removal? What are the drugs which you have options? One by one.
Bupropion, NRTs, nicotine replacement therapy.
Very good. So what are the different forms of nicotine? The next question. Nicotines are available in
Nicotine patch,
very good.
2 and 4 mg.
Very good.
And nicotine inhalers.
Inhalers, very good. Then nicotine gums, very good. Then nasal spray.
Nasal spray.
Okay, so these are the different modes of nicotine. Okay, other than nicotine replacement therapy, what other drugs you can use?
Bupropion.
Bupropion, very good.
And varnicillin. Varnicillin.
Very good. Just read in detail the mechanism of each and every drug. Okay, this is asked in your theories also. And nortriptyline. Just read the mechanism of action of all these drugs. Okay, so all these are the pharmacotherapies. Okay, next question, what is vaping? What is vaping? So this is act of inhaling and exhaling the nicotine in a vapor form. This is act of inhaling and exhaling the aerosolized form. Aerosolized form of nicotine. And this is produced by a device which is called as e-cigarette, that is electronic cigarette. Okay, the next question, what are the contents of this vaping? Answers?
Vitamin acid.
sorry. The first content will be nicotine. The vaping will also have nicotine. The only difference is that all the harmful chemicals that are present in a cigarette will be removed and it will be a filtered form of nicotine. It will have a preservative, that is formaldehyde. It will have THCs, that is tetrahydrocannabinol. It will have vitamin E acetate. Okay. It will have propylene glycol. So there are various harmful chemicals in cigarette which are filtered from nicotine from cigarette, and this is in a filtered form. Plus, along with all these contents, this will have flavored contaminants. Artificial flavors are used. These are harmful. So what are the harmful things which are present in your vaping? These flavored contaminants, they are harmful, and this formaldehyde itself is a dangerous thing which is used as a preservative for nicotine. Okay. Next question. What is E-Valley? Anybody? What is E-Valley? This is e-cigarette or vaping associated lung injury. The short form is E-Valley. Okay? This mostly presents in days to weeks, and the patient has done vaping in the previous 90 days only, and immediately after that he will present with this lung injury. So vaping use in prior 90 days, and this presents with ARDS, organizing pneumonias, or diffuse lung damage. Okay. So how will you prevent this E-Valley? How will you manage this E-Valley? You have to screen first for urine THC levels. You have to give oxygen support. You have to give empirical antibiotic coverage for at least 48 hours. Empirical antibiotic coverage for at least 48 hours. Okay? If it is an influenza season, give antiviral coverage also. And if there is severe ARDS, you have to give corticosteroid, depends on case to case. Okay? Then you will have to report to a local poison control center for the case surveillance and collect all the vaping cartridges for state public health lab testing. This is for PSM people. Okay, like follow up you have to do. Okay. Now what is the role of occupation? What are the causes of occupational disorders? Answers all of you. The most common cause will be pneumoconiosis. Okay, this can be byssinosis, bagisosis, berylliosis, asbestosis, silicosis, all the pneumoconiotic causes. Then there can be occupational asthma. Okay, chronic asbestos exposure can cause malignancy. And what is malignancy? Mesothelioma. Then the people who are exposed to pigeons, they will have HP, that is a pigeon fanciers disease. Or the farmer's lung. Anything else related to occupation which I am missing? I think I have covered everything. Okay. The next symptomatology will be fever. So few important questions that can be asked related to fever. So what is the normal body temperature? Normal body temperature is 36.7 to 37.2 degrees centigrade. Okay. What is hypothermia? When the temperature is less than 35 degrees centigrade. What is hyperpyrexia? It is more than 40.5 degrees centigrade. Okay. Then the next question they can ask you, what is continuous fever, what is remittent fever, what is intermittent fever, what is relapsing fever. Okay. So what is continuous fever? Continuous fever means the temperature will remain elevated above normal without touching the baseline, and the fluctuation of temperature will not exceed to 1 degree Fahrenheit or 0.6 degrees Celsius. Okay. That is called as continuous fever. So 2 points that is there in continuous fever: the temperature remains elevated above normal without touching the baseline. Okay. Plus the fluctuation will be less than 0.6 degrees Celsius or 1 degree Fahrenheit. Okay. So the fever will be continuous, it will never come to the baseline. ठीक है, वो high रहेगा पूरे time. ठीक है. What are the causes of continuous fever? There can be lobar pneumonia, which can cause continuous fever, or your infective endocarditis, the cardiac cause. This can cause continuous fever. ठीक है. What is remittent fever? What is remittent fever? So remittent fever, again it will also not touch the baseline. It will be continuously high, baseline को touch नहीं करेगा, but the fluctuation will be more than 1 degree Fahrenheit. ठीक है. But it will also not touch the baseline. Just remember the definition. Some examiners can ask you the definition. What do you mean by continuous fever? So the fever will remain elevated, it will not touch the baseline, and the fluctuation will not be more than 1 degree Fahrenheit. Remittent fever, the fluctuation, remittent fever will also not touch the baseline, but the fluctuation will be more than 1 degree Fahrenheit. Okay. What is intermittent fever? Now intermittent fever may the fluctuation will be more than 1 degree Fahrenheit, and sometimes it will touch the baseline also. Okay, that means there is a diurnal variation. The fluctuation will be there. Okay, but एक point पे वो कभी baseline पे touch करेगा. So sepsis is a cause of intermittent fever. Patient will be septic, will be having high grade fever, but for few hours he will be aseptic, he will not have fever. Okay. Now, what is relapsing fever? So relapsing fever means the fever which will come after a normal episode. So there will be a febrile episode. After this, there will be a normal episode, and again the patient will have a febrile episode. Okay? So this is relapsing fever. Now again, there are various causes of relapsing fever. Okay? And specifically, this relapsing fever is important for malaria. So you have tertian fever, you have quartan fever, you have Pell-Epstein fever. Okay? What is tertian fever? The patient will have fever on day 1. He will have fever. Day 2 pe he will be normal. There is no fever. Day 3 pe again he will have fever. Okay? So every third day the patient will have fever. What are the causes of this tertian fever? Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium ovale, and Plasmodium falciparum. Okay? What is quartan fever? Day 1, day 2, day 3 and day 4. So day 1 mein he will have fever. Day 4 pe, day 2 and day 3 he will be normal, and day 4 pe again he will have fever. Okay, so this is seen in Plasmodium malaria. So all the Plasmodium except malaria will have tertian fever. Plasmodium malaria will have quartan. This is just some basic things. Some examiner might be interested in medicine point of view, so they will ask in certain basic things. Okay, what about Pell-Epstein fever? What is Pell-Epstein fever? The patient will have fever on day 1. The fever will continue for next 3 to 10 days. Then the fever will stop. This stoppage of fever will also for be next 3 to 10 days. उसको कुछ भी नहीं होगा. ठीक है? And again after 3 to 10 days it will reappear in the same pattern. That is called as Pell-Epstein fever, seen in case of lymphomas, usually Hodgkin's lymphomas. ठीक है? So these are certain basic questions related to fever. ठीक है? What are the causes of fever? Now answers. What will be the causes of fever? There can be infectious causes. There can be malignant causes. There can be vascular causes. There can be immunological causes and endocrinological causes. Again, you can divide the causes of fever in a system-wise manner. Okay? So infectious causes can be any infection: bacterial, viral, fungal, parasitic. Okay? And usually these infectious causes, they will be present with fever with chills and rigor. Okay? Neoplasms that can cause fever: lymphomas. Any lung cancer can also cause long time fever. Bone cancers can cause long time fever. Okay? Vascular causes: pulmonary embolism can cause fever. MI can cause fever. Immunological: any connective tissue disease, SLE, rheumatoid arthritis, juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, drug-induced fever. So many a time you will face such situation in your clinical practice also. Okay? Very important vasculitic disorders like your Wegener's granulomatosis, your Churg-Strauss syndrome, that is EGPA. Okay, all these will be presenting with fever. Okay, I have seen cases of EGPA. The patient presented with fever, bronchial asthma, and joint pain since a longer duration. Okay, we have evaluated everything. His eosinophil levels were raised, his absolute eosinophil count were raised, and we initially treated the patient as bronchial asthma because he was having uncontrolled asthma. So we treated the patient, we thought it was an acute exacerbation of bronchial asthma. We gave antibiotics and we gave inhalers to the patient, and the patient's respiratory part was controlled, but his fever was not going. Then we evaluated further. We sent his ANA profile, we sent his ANCA profile, and the patient was C-ANCA strong positive. So this was a case of Churg-Strauss in which a patient was having a long duration of fever. So always, whenever you are facing cases of fever, never simply transfer the patient to the medicine people. You have to evaluate fever at your own level also, because your respiratory diseases like Churg-Strauss, Wegener's, SLE, rheumatoid arthritis, young patients will have juvenile rheumatoid arthritis in which there will be no joint pain, nothing else, but only fever will be the symptom. Okay, and if they are having associated ILD, so as a pulmonologist, you should know how to rule out a vasculitic disorder. This is very, very important. Okay, you are not here just to manage COPD asthma. Okay, you should know vascular disorders. You should know that embolism can also cause fever. You should know that all connective tissue diseases can cause fever. You should know that vasculitis, collagen vascular diseases can cause fever. Okay, and endocrine, it is thyrotoxicosis or anxiety induced fever sometimes. Okay. After fever, the next cardinal symptom will be chest pain. Okay, so the examiner will ask you one basic question: define pain. What is pain? Okay, so this is an unpleasant sensation that is localized to a part of body. So unpleasant sensation that is localized to a part of body. Okay. The next most common question that will be coming is, what are the causes of chest pain? Okay, so again you have to divide this in three parts, that is respiratory causes, cardiac causes of chest pain, and GI causes of chest pain. So what are the respiratory causes that will cause chest pain? Answers. We are more interested to hear the respiratory causes. So what are the respiratory causes?
Pneumothorax,
Pneumothorax, very good.
pulmonary embolism,
Very good. Pulmonary embolism,
pneumonia,
pneumonia,
or
then
Pleural effusion.
pleural. Very good. Pleural effusion. Every pleural effusion will cause chest pain. No. If there is empyema, yes. Thickened pleura is there. There is trapped lung is there. There is fibrosis is there. Okay. So these will cause pleural effusion. Okay. So these are certain respiratory causes. Cardiac causes, very simple. Acute MI will cause chest pain. Angina will cause chest pain. Aortic dissection will cause chest pain. Aortic stenosis will cause chest pain. Pericarditis will cause chest pain. And GI causes, it is GERD or reflux esophagitis or hernia, hiatus hernia. These can cause chest pain. So every time whenever an examiner asks you the causes, always give the causes in a system and don't give an haphazard cause. एक pneumothorax बोल दिया, MI बोल दिया, GERD बोल दिया, ऐसे नहीं. Divide it into everything, because you can see cough I have divided into system wise, chest pain I have divided in system wise. So divide each and everything in system wise: respiratory cause, cardiac cause, GI cause. Okay, so it looks beautiful. It generates more confidence at your face. Okay. Other than this, some other causes respiratory में और क्या हो सकता है? Pulmonary hypertension can also cause chest pain. Okay.
Rib fractures can cause chest pain.
Yes, rib fractures can cause chest pain. Okay. Now, what are the characteristics of pleuritic type of chest pain? Most common question that will be asked if you are having a case of pleural effusion, what will be the characteristic of pleural chest pain? Okay, so how a pleuritic type of chest pain is there? It is sharp, it is localized, it is a superficial pain. Okay, it will be aggravated by deep inspiration and coughing. Okay, why this is aggravated by deep inspiration and coughing? Because the pleura is inflamed, so there will be stretch of your inflamed pleura. So this is due to stretch of the inflamed pleura. Okay, so it will be a sharp pain, a localized pain, a superficial pain. Okay, and when you deeply inspire or cough, the inflamed pleura will get irritated and it will cause further aggravation. Also, if there is an irritation of the diaphragmatic pleura, it will cause ipsilateral shoulder pain also. Okay, so if there is irritation of your diaphragmatic pleura, this will cause ipsilateral shoulder pain. Okay. Now, what are the causes of chest pain with sudden shortness of breath? इसी में से आंसर्स देने हैं. Patient
Pneumothorax.
Pneumothorax, very good.
Pulmonary embolism.
Pulmonary embolism, very good. And cardiac cause, MI.
MI.
Okay. What are the causes of chest pain with hemoptysis?
Pulmonary embolism.
It is actually pulmonary infarction. Okay, not embolism, but embolism can convert into infarct, and infarction will present with hemoptysis. Okay, and hemothorax. If there is a trauma history, there will be hemothorax. Patient will have chest pain and hemoptysis will also be there. Okay. What are the causes of chest pain with fever? In what all condition patient will have chest pain and fever will also be there?
Pneumonia.
Pneumonia, very good.
Pleural effusion.
Pleural effusion, specifically tubercular pleural effusion. Lung abscess, liver abscess, okay? Any chest wall infection, subdiaphragmatic abscess. So any sort of abscess will present with fever and chest pain also, okay? So pleural effusions, pneumonias, lung abscess, subdiaphragmatic abscess, liver abscess, they will all present with chest pain and